Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and this is another episode of Biblical Moment with Minister Moses Woods and myself, Todd G. Today we have a special guest. I think pretty much everybody's familiar with her. It's Todd and Ebony show that will be appearing soon. It's been backdated for certain complications, but today it's about God. It's about getting understanding, and that's why we're here at Biblical Moment today. Hello, Ebony. Hello, how you doing? You want to give them a little bit about
nice
yourself?
To see you. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. How are you?
Hello.
How are you, Moses?
I'm wonderful. And you, Ebony?
I am doing great. I cannot complain, right? It could always be worse.
Absolutely.
We're good, so you have to feel good.
Blessed, and definitely overly blessed. You hear me?
Come on now.
Period. Yes.
Absolutely.
So, yes, today, actually, both of my friends here today, they're kind of shocked at what I'm going to speak about today, because it's just something that really come to mind. And that's the thing about Biblical Moment. We come natural, we come off the head. So we might plan to talk about apples and then turn around and start talking about oranges this evening, So, just kind of like bear with us. Just know sometimes if we stutter, if we stumble, it's because it's all coming from the heart and it's coming from what we know and what we've experienced. Today, I just want to talk about, marriage. Because there's some things about marriage that I particularly don't agree with, but it's my opinion. It's something I'm entitled to, and today I'm going to address it. I just feel like marriage is not necessarily a must in my life as far as being right under God. I feel like a commitment, it starts at heart. And when you have a commitment and it starts at heart, why do I need paperwork to confirm it? Well, who would like to answer? Would you want to start with that, Mr. Moses?
Yeah, I can keep that short and simple for you.
Absolutely.
First of all, if you profess to be a Christian, being a Christian means we follow the stipulations, guidelines, rules, ordinances, and things that God set forth. Not what man sets forth, but what God sets forth, which means that we do the things that he says we're supposed to do for his reasons. And there's a passage in the Bible, I can't quote a chapter for verse, where it says that we must obey by the laws of the land. So if the laws of the land say that a man and a woman come together and sign a piece of paper to acknowledge the fact that they are married, then that's what we must do. And if you have some states that say if you're together for a period of time, they call you common law marriage and they recognize you as being husband and wife after a period of time. But according to God, a man and a woman is not allowed to come together and cohabitate and lay together and have sexual intercourse unless they are married. Okay, so
Look, here's the thing, Minister Moses. Here's the thing. Marriage, these are facts. The divorce rate is at an alarming rate. It's skyrocketing. Okay, why is that? It's because marriages are failing. Marriages are failing, and I feel like it's more complicated being married than just staying in a relationship with the woman that I love. Why? And what does marriage bring? It forces many people to what? Remain as one for the wrong reasons. We're staying together for the kids. We're going to stay together for medical benefits. We're going to stay together because we don't know how to split the assets. It seems to me marriage is really a problem. If I break up with Ebony today, if I break up with Ticey, if I break up with another woman, guess what? She goes left, I go right. If I choose to help her out or whatever the case may be, then hey, here it is. Now, me being the man that I am, if this is my woman, quite naturally, I'm not going to put her out and put the kids out. I'm going to get somewhere and I'm going to go get established and I'm going to get on my feet if that's what need be. But it just seems to me that marriage is more complicated than just a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, but it doesn't change the love. What do you think about that?
Okay, so I'm going to jump into this conversation. I think it's really important that when we speak of marriage, we understand that a lot of times when people get married, their mental state isn't correct. So we're not going to blame that on the word marriage. A lot of people come into a union and they're not whole. So they're looking for entitlement that comes with that name. So sometimes, like, here's the thing, right? For titles, what we do as human beings, right? So a woman, you could be dating her, helping her pay her bills, taking care of her children. But if you don't call her your woman, she feels what? Incomplete. She's not happy, no matter how much a man does, right? So the entitlement sometimes comes with the titles that we want. So a lot of times, instead of us taking marriage as a godly union and saying that we are doing this for the protection of us, for us to be whole completely, because spiritually is just as important as everything else. We can match up mentally, we can match up physically, but if we don't match up spiritually, we will not hold. Okay, so that's one-on-one. So entitlement is a big thing. So yes, marriages are failing because people come into marriages unwhole. And so when you're not whole, you come into a relationship, and because a man holds a certain title, you expect him to hold a certain weight. Do you understand?
Well, you and Minister Moses are basically telling me that people should stay in a marriage whether they're unhappy or not because they made a commitment under God. So what, they just stay married?
Can I ask you something? Okay, so a lot of times in life, right, we are unhappy. And we might be unhappy standing in the position that we are in. But if we stand there long enough, that storm too passes. So we have to learn that it's not always to run when things aren't right. So the reason why marriage is supposed to be what it is because we have investment. And if I invest in you, Todd, I'm not going to be too quick to leave you. I tell a man now, I don't want you unless you invest it. Why? Because a man is not going to leave his investment as well as he'll leave a piece of tail. So it's facts that investments must be important, and it must be done because a relationship shouldn't just be built off love. That's not enough to hold it together.
Let me say, okay, let me tell you what scripture says. And I'm gonna give you in simple terms the reason why marriages fail. Right here in Mark 10:9, there's a passage that says, what therefore God has joined together, let no man separate. So now we got to break this down. Let me help you understand what this is saying. God is not in the marriage between homosexuals. He has nothing to do with two men marrying one another or two women marrying one another, regardless of what the government says. All right, God's word, and the reason why I tell people it's so important that you read it for yourself so that you know rather than listen to what somebody else says. God brings two believers together. If Ebony is not a believer and I am, then I have no place marrying Ebony. Now, she and I can talk and we can date and we can try to come to an understanding about who I am as a man and how I want to live my life, how I see how important it is to live my life under the guidelines of God. And if she doesn't agree with that, then as the book of Titus says, how can two journey together if they don't agree? There's no way that she and I can get together and get to where we're trying to go if we're both going separate directions. And if I'm a believer and she's a non-believer, then we have different objectives.
Okay, and that's, excuse me, Moses, that's just as well as they're saying simply when people say equally yoked, correct?
Absolutely, equally yoked. So if we are unequally yoked and we come together, then we're not going to have a successful relationship, period at all. And no man, I don't know about you, Todd, but I know about me, and I'm honest with me. If not for Jesus Christ, I'm a whoremonger. I'm chasing tail. All right. Even being the man of God that I am, I have eyes. So I have to stay under the umbrella and stay connected to God in a majorly close way every single day. I wake up, I have to commit to doing that because the distractions and the alluring is out there trying to draw my attention. But because I am so God conscious, I have learned to keep my eyes from certain things and stay away from particular things that draw me there. So if I'm a believer and my wife is a believer and she's stimulating my spiritual, I ain't got to go nowhere else. She's going to help my spirit stay strong. But if I'm with a woman that is not spiritual as I am, and she wants to go out and hang out and party and do things of the world, and I'm trying to appease her as well, and I'm dipping and dabbling into that, then we're going to have issues.
So you're basically, hold on, Ms. Moses. So you're telling me you're married, you're being faithful to your woman. This is a woman that you have sworn to spend the rest of your life with through sickness and in health.
Right.
Let's say I've been with my woman just as long as you've been with your woman, and maybe had a friendship a little bit longer. Although I may struggle with infidelity at times. Does that mean I love my woman any less just because you married and I'm not?
Well, listen, how can you
Does that mean I love my woman
Can
any
I
less?
say something?
No.
I
Does
would
that
like
mean,
to know.
Does that mean I love you any less because Moses is able to walk this walk and not cheat and not lust and all these different type of things, and just because I struggle in that area, that makes you better than me?
Well, listen. Let me
No,
first
I don't think
thing
so.
you got to do is you got to learn what is the definition of love. What is love?
Love
Yes.
is what love does.
Yes.
No. Let me tell
Yes.
you, according to Christians, God is love. God is not lust. He's not a feeling. He's not an emotion. He's not a thought. He's not an opinion. God is love. And what is love? Love is an action. Okay, so if you love your wife, there's no reason, there's no way in the world you're going to leave out to go to work, but you're going to skip work and you're going to go lay up in another woman's bed. That's not love. Because somehow, some way, at some point, at some time, your wife is going to find out about this and she's going to be crushed. So how can you say you love her while you're jabbing her in the heart with this
My
knife?
famous saying is love is meaning. It means nothing until you submit to that fact that you love something. It means nothing.
Right. And love will do certain things and love won't do certain things. My love is demonstrated for my wife, not based on how I feel, but the fact that I don't mess around, I don't go out on
It's mental.
Even if I don't tell her, don't mean we always like each other and we always agree with each other. But one thing I never do, I never call her out of her name. I never put my hands on her, and I will not go out and lay down with another woman while she is mine. That won't happen. Now, I did all of that prior to being a Christian.
The thought is just as deadly, right? Even if I don't call my woman,
absolutely.
If I don't call my woman, if I'm angry and I don't call my woman a B during the argument, but I'm thinking, I can't stand this, and I'm saying it in my mind, it's just as deadly, right?
God knows
because
that.
everything starts with a thought.
Do you do that? I don't do that.
No, I mean, you said that what you said was about what exits your mouth, right? That you're saying that would be disrespecting your woman. So you said, I don't call her no name. I don't do this. I don't do that.
I don't do none of that. Right. I don't think about calling her.
But if you thought about things,
I don't think about doing
or you was upset with her and you said some things mentally that you wouldn't say verbally, then isn't that still wrong?
Absolutely. But you train yourself. See, you're never truly going to understand the power of Christianity and the spirit in you if you're not living it. I could sit here and tell you all the time what I'm capable of doing as a believer, but if you're a non-believer,
I agree with
you're not going to be able to relate to that, and you're going to say, "Oh man, you're a man just like me. Ain't no way in the world you can live that kind of life." Not until you pick it up and you live it that you begin to realize that you can truly be everything God tells you to be.
First and foremost, let me put some straightening on something for the viewers real quick. First and foremost, I've been knowing Minister Moses for quite some time, so I want y'all to know when Minister Moses is talking about someone or maybe a group of people not believing in him, I am not one of them. Minister Moses has done a lot for me, and I wouldn't be talking to him right now if I didn't believe in him and things that he says. Now, here's the thing we have to understand. As men, we can agree to disagree and still have a beautiful understanding and still love one another. Now, some of the things that Minister Moses brings to my attention, I reflect later when I embrace solitude, okay? So this is why I bring out some of these things, because I do struggle as a Christian, but I am a Christian. I am a Baptist. That is my denomination. So there's some things that people believe in that I believe in, some people don't. However, these are the things that have kept me alive throughout the street life and throughout the dark side when I was doing that substantial amount of time. It was grandma's prayers, mama's prayers, and whoever else loved me that kept me here today to be able to speak with Minister Moses and Ebony. So let's just get that straight right now. I love Moses and I love Ebony, and we both go way back. Now go ahead. Now back to what you were saying.
Go ahead, Sister Ebony, please interject.
I was just saying that when it comes to love or marriage, our relationships, we would have to go back so far in order for that to balance out the way it should, because so many morals are lost that would equal up to the denomination of us having true love or true marriages. And so a lot of the little bitty things are lost, and it's hard to go back there. Just especially when you're speaking of, and also I do want to say I completely agree with Moses when he says that just because you marry somebody doesn't mean it was God's sent partner. You know, so you got to ask yourself, is this really your God soulmate? Because you're not gonna get a blessing on the mess, no matter what it is.
Okay.
And I think a lot of times
I thought this was going to happen, and I really feel like Ebony and Minister Moses are more or less leaning the same way. I feel like I'm on my own today, which is okay. Which is okay, because any type of criticism coming from either one of them, or any opinion or any fact, is always deeply considered, and I never feel violated because I know both of them want, have my best interest at hand. But here's my thing. I have a pen right here, and I'm gonna grab, let's see, I might have a little piece of paper, I think. So you and Minister Moses, y'all both are strong on marriage, and I see that. Okay, I'm still struggling with that. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Like I said, I feel like, hey, it's less stress when you have a soulmate, okay, with no paperwork. Now, I feel like that. So what we're gonna do is, if you was boyfriend and girlfriend with someone, and girlfriend, boyfriend with me and another woman. Now, me and this woman, we break up. Mm-hmm. We're gonna talk about what I have to lose, and we're gonna talk about what you and Ebony have to lose if y'all get a divorce. Okay. Now, y'all can lose what? First you're gonna have custody battles, okay, if you have children. These are things you got to consider when you're married. Custody battles, assets, medical benefits, pension plans, all that's in there, right? Pension, child support. Okay, that's just right off the top. Now, what happens with boyfriend and girlfriend? What can y'all tell me? What happens with the boyfriend and girlfriend? Could you help me out, please? Where the problems occur when we break up? What happened?
Housing.
Okay.
Cars, clothes, because they petty. See, boyfriend, girlfriend is petty.
Right. Well, and let me add.
You don't lose much, do you?
No. Let me add this. Simply,
ain't too much pressure, is it?
But check this out. Everything you named is temporary and meaningless anyway.
Okay.
All of that's.
Tell him, Moses.
None of that means nothing. I'm gonna tell you what happens is what you lose first, and I'm speaking as a Christian man. Okay, as a Christian man, if I divorce my wife, my biggest issue is gonna be my relationship with God, because I've let him down. Okay. See, I'm more married to Jesus than I am my wife.
Oh, okay. That's
so, and what happens is, if I think to do anything wrong to my wife, I first understand that I'm disappointing God, because God knows before I act on it, before I do anything, God knows. So I don't even know from moment to moment what's in my wife's heart or what's on her mind, but God does. So when I stay connected to God, I don't have to assume where she's at or how she's feeling or what need of hers needs to be met, because in the quiet of the morning, when I get up early to pray, the Lord and I walk and he says to me, your wife has this concern and you need to tend to that. Or your wife has the desire to have this or that. You need to be more attentive and listen to that. And then that's the benefit of being in a spiritual relationship with God, because he goes before you and prepares the way and works out everything before you get into trouble. And I try to help people understand this. God is not just in the business of getting you out of situation. God is first and foremost in the business of helping you to avoid bad situations and circumstances. Okay.
Let me ask you something, Minister Moses. Can I ask you something?
Yes.
If your wife came home tomorrow and said, baby, I want to convert to Muslim, would you stay married?
Well, actually,
would you stay married?
I never worry about that happening, but
would you stay married?
Absolutely, I'd stay married too. I'm in it. I can't divorce her.
Now, how are you going to stay married? Where's the spiritual balance going to come in at?
Because I got to let God work that out. All I can focus on is what Moses has to do. Just because she becomes a Muslim, I got to continue to serve God. There's a passage in the Bible where he says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and everything else will be added. You know what that means? That means, Moses, you wake up every day committed to honoring me, following me, and serving me, and being obedient to me. And you don't worry about what your son, your daughter, your wife, your mama, your daddy, your brothers, your sister, your boss, or what nobody else is doing. You just be committed to doing what you're supposed to do, just like when Jesus had to take on our burdens and he had to walk that and go through everything he went through, knowing the whole time he could have done something to get out of that situation, but he had to do that. Why? Because somebody looking on needs to see him stand in this situation.
So it'd be safe to say, no matter what, no matter if you're a Muslim, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, you stay with them no matter what. You just
okay, but here's what you got to understand. Remember the very first thing I said. The very first thing is this: I'm gonna marry a Christian woman. Okay, so I'm not gonna really worry about that. I'm not gonna have that issue. But if she decides to change over and go the other route, I gotta still be a husband. I gotta still keep my commitment and my vows to God, and I gotta let God deal with her on that. I'm not converting. You know, and I already know, being who I am as a man of God, Satan is not comfortable being around me. So he ain't gonna hang out too long. So she's gonna get up. She's gonna get up
Todd,
stuff, and she's gonna bounce before I.
You ain't gonna hang out like wet clothes, huh?
So let's ask you a question now. If your woman told you today that you had to marry her or leave, what would you do?
You know, I'd probably call you two. Honestly, Ebony, you know, it's like a leap of faith. It's something that I want to do. You know, my grandparents, they 50 years and all that. So I always said, if I get married, I don't ever want to have a divorce. And it's just a lot of pressure. That's a lot of responsibility and obligation.
I don't understand that.
So I don't think you're listening to what I said, Todd.
I don't understand. What's the pressure? Because I'm gonna tell tell you what the pressure is. After you answer me, I'm gonna tell you why you don't want to get committed.
Repeat the question one time, Miss Ebony. Let me make sure I heard it right.
If your woman came in today and said, "Would you have to marry me or you have to leave?" What would you do? I know you're very fond of who you're with right now.
I would probably marry her under pressure.
And she's making you a great man. So I think that would probably be the smartest thing to do. However, I do think you should listen to yourself. Because I just explained that titles make people feel like they have all this entitlement. So you as a man is saying, oh, because I'm her husband, I have to carry this extra weight. And that's not how you're supposed to feel about it.
And I think that has a lot to do with my grandfather. You know, we couldn't even sit down and eat at the table until there was a place called Fritz and Het. And he worked there and he retired from there in Davenport and Walcott. And we couldn't even eat. I mean, he showered, then he blessed the table, and then we eat. I came from a structured home, strict home. So I really strongly believe, like, in men being the protector, the provider, finalizing decisions, but also valuing your woman or your wife's opinion. And so if I'm following the footsteps of Reverend Paul Gordon and Jimmy Lee Ellis, then I have to display it. And if I tell this woman I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with her, then that's exactly what I want to do wholeheartedly.
Can I say something to you that's gonna probably be kind of crushing?
Go ahead.
This is gonna be kind of powerful.
Okay.
First and foremost, no disrespect to you or to your woman, but according to the Bible, the fact that you are not married is very displeasing to God. Okay. Very displeasing. You're taking your woman and you're presenting her before God as a whore. Okay? And you're a whoremonger because God only honors marriages. Okay? And your decision to not marry her is based on you not wanting to be committed. You want to be able to get up and go whenever you choose that you want to go if things don't work out the way that you want them to work out. And there's no paperwork that got to be answered. You can leave with your car. She keeps hers. You ain't got to share, split nothing. And that's the only reason why.
I do kind of have a body armor on. I do have body armor, yes.
Right. Because if you truly loved her, okay, and let's keep in mind, God is love. That means the characteristic traits of God. All right, love is there. There is no such thing as Plato's love and Eros love. You know, they want to try to say, you know what, it's a love between a mother and a child, or a brother and a sister, and the sexual. No. There's an agape love. Everything else is lust.
Yes.
Everything else is lust. There's only one love, and that love is God. Okay. So when you're not doing things the way verbatim, the way God says they're supposed to be done, you're not loving her. You're not loving her. And if she's allowing you to not love her, then that's going to be detrimental to both you and her throughout your marriage, throughout your relationship. There's going to be instabilities. There's going to be unnecessary things that you're going to experience and go through that you would otherwise not have to deal with if you commit to her. Because you commit to her.
You know firsthand that I was going to marry her and that I have intended to, because I told you last time we were together, I told you, I said, how would you like to marry me?
Absolutely.
Right.
But the thing is
but I run from it.
That's got to happen. That you're sharing her bed, you're living with her, and you're living as husband and wife. And the more you do that, the more desensitized you become to the necessary fact that you need to be right before God. And that's what it's about. It's about you being right before the one that empowers you to have the activity of your limbs, your mind, and everything else that gets you up and helps you become what it is you strive to become every day. Because if he removed your ability to do that, you'd have nothing in your life. Everything you have is a result of him giving it to you so you can have it. And if you and the way you demonstrate your true appreciation and love for him is to do things the way he says. Let me ask you this one little analogy. If you create a vehicle that runs on diesel fuel, but you pull up at an regular unleaded service station, and you put unleaded regular into that diesel fuel tank, what's going to happen?
It's never going to run the same. It's not going to run the same.
For a while, it's going to sputter. It's going to start running worse and worse and worse, and gradually it's going to break down. God created, he's the engineer and architect of life. He created us to live a specific way. And our past experiences have shown us that by not doing it his way, that's why we have so many dead bones behind us, so many failed relationships, so many failed opportunities, so many things that we had and we no longer have, we couldn't keep, and because we tried to do it our way, our father's way, our grandfather's way, a rapper's way, a entertainer's way, a philosopher's way, everybody's way but his way. And that's why none of it has ever stood. Until you do it the way the architect and engineer created it and designed it to be done, it's never going to be successful. And I know people that's been in relationships for 35 years, and he's got a family on the other side of town. They don't sleep together. They hardly talk. But from the outside looking in, it looks like, wow, they've been together 35, 40 years. They're doing great. And it's been misery the whole time.
And there you have it, y'all. Minister Moses, it's always been a joy. It's always been a pleasure.
Always.
It's another biblical moment. As you see it, kind of heated. We want to thank Miss Ebony for joining us. We had some reception issues. I want to apologize. I'm sure she will be back as a guest again. Again, I say, paperwork with a relationship or without. That's entirely up to you. The choice is yours. You can do it under the act of God, or you can do it under the act of man. It's your choice. Have a good day, and God bless. I want to thank you for watching another episode of Biblical Moment. Ties for today is thumbs up, and it only costs a click to subscribe. Thank you.